guys, it's Katie here, and today I want to share with you guys how I have been using the Plan, Prep, Pray planner to help me to organize my life and how I'm planning to use it with my homeschool. Some of the things I have already started, but our homeschool year doesn't start till August, so some of the things I will just show you how we're planning to utilize them, and I'm excited to give you just kind of a sneak peek. I do want to note though that this video is not meant to be instructional. It's not meant to say this is how you have to use it or this is what you should do. This is what works for my ADHD brain. It bridges the perfect marriage of enough structure and enough flexibility to allow me to be able to work and to utilize this well. I have tried all the different plans out there. I have tried planning 6 weeks at a time. I've planned 13 weeks at a time. I have tried doing weekly, daily, monthly, yearly. I've tried all of the different things, and I've kind of landed on a system that works best for me, and that's what I want to share with you guys today. The best part though is if this doesn't work for you, or if parts of it work for you and other parts don't, you can actually check out the playlist down in the description below, because Wendy and a whole bunch of other homeschool moms are joining together to make a playlist of how they're utilizing this planner, and you can hopefully learn between all of us what might work best for you and your family. So let's get started. Okay, this is not going to be a full planner flip through. I have that already on my channel and you guys can check that out, but I did want to share with you guys a couple of the key pages that I'm utilizing. So this is the quarterly planning goal setting section. I'm specifically using this exclusively for my homeschooling, and the way I am doing it is I'm putting all 6 kids all together. I am not separating them by child. It was just easier for my brain that way. And so what I did is I looked at each of our curriculums that were divided in lessons and things, and I figured out how many lessons there are in each one. So for instance, algebra has 142 lessons. I did the math, I calculated, all right, if I have 4 quarters, each quarter is about 9 weeks long, because we don't want to plan to homeschool the whole year. I usually do, but I like to use that as buffer. So we plan 9 weeks for each quarter. How many lessons do I need to get done in 1 quarter? So I always buffer it. If it's not quite even, I'll kind of make the first part of the year heavier, because we tend to be more consistent at that point, and it gets run out of steam a little bit in the 4th quarter. So I'm like, okay, I need to have lessons 1 through 36 done. And if these numbers don't seem quite right, that's because some of these things have tests, like test 14, and that counts as more than a lesson. So it's actually more than 142 lessons, because there's also 14 tests. So I don't know if that makes sense, but anyways, just trust me, the math is right. I did it with a calculator. But we go through and I'm like, okay, zoology 1 in quarter 1, we're going to get from chapter 1 to chapter 4, because each one takes a couple of weeks, takes 2 weeks or so. And so that's how we're going to work that out. In this section, I plan to go through and write down either character qualities we want to work on, Bible memory work we're planning to work on, what's going to be in our morning menus, things like that, but I am still working on hashing all of that out right now. This just gives me a general guide. This is not something I'm going to reference constantly, but I'm just going to kind of check in every 9 weeks and just see, okay, how did we do? Are we like way ahead of schedule? Awesome. Are we way behind and we need to make sure we kind of double up? Great. But it just gives you a general idea of where you're going to be at. Okay, so then you come to the monthly pages, and I've got my schedule there. I'm not going to show you guys that for privacy reasons, obviously. I will show you the blank one on this side. It's beautifully done, and you can write notes on the side. And then also here, you've got a prayer page where you can fill out different people or things you're praying for these different categories. And then I'll show you how I'm utilizing that list later. Okay, so the goal planning page, this might look a little sparse to you, and it definitely is. It actually is going to look a lot fuller coming in August, but we actually aren't starting school till August. So for right now, I just wanted to give you a general idea of how I lay it out. I have each block of these blocked off for a specific child. So all 6 of my kids have their own block. And then there are these other blocks here that you can put in whatever you want. But for me, I put in books that we want to read. And this is books that either I want to read in our homeschool or that I'm personally reading. Field trips that we want to go on, home things that I'm working on, like big project things that I'm working on for this month, church things that I'm working on, physical physical goals I have for this month, and then I think I'm going to put spiritual goals here as well. This is actually based off of a layout that I have been utilizing in my personal home and homeschool for about 4 or 5 years. And I was telling Wendy about this, and she asked if she could incorporate it into her planner, and I was like, absolutely, I would love to have this incorporated in a planner because I've never seen anything done like this before in this format. So the idea here, the way I utilize it, is I will put in a child's name, and then I'll put in like math. All right, if we've got to get through 32 lessons in 9 weeks, that means we need to get about 3 to 4 lessons a week. So I'm going to look at the month and say, if we want to get to the end of lesson 32 by the first quarter, then I know that I want to do about 4 lessons a week. Yes, that would add up to 16 lessons a month, but I always short myself a little bit because I want to allow buffer. I want myself to succeed. So with this, I'm going to put in, we're going to do math lessons 1 through 12, right? I gave myself an entire 4-day buffer there because if we go further than that, awesome. But if we don't, then I'm not absolutely crushed and disappointed, and we can still hit our goals going at that rate. So what I'll do is I'll write in each subject for each child. I'll write where they're starting at the beginning of the month and where I would like to be by the end of the month. If we hit that goal by the end of the month, I just check it off. Woohoo, success. But if I get to the end of the month and we haven't quite hit that goal and we're a little short, maybe something came up, didn't get a concept or whatever it might be, then I'm just going to write in parentheses, where did we actually end? So if we were supposed to get from lesson 1 to 10 or something and we only got to lesson 7, I'm just gonna write in parentheses a 7. And when I go over to August, I would just start that page with that subject and say we're starting at 7, and this month I really hope we can get to 10 or we can get to 12. Sometimes it's a matter of you're planning too much in a month, so you can kind of track the patterns and say, okay, we're really on average getting about 15 lessons or whatever it might be. And so we really need to plan for that. Other times, just things happen. So just know that that's how that works. So you can have each individual subject per kid and kind of write down goals. You could also write down things you want them to focus on or work on, life skills, things like that, but I don't personally have that right here right now. So then that brings us to our weekly spreads. Now this might look a little messy to you guys, but it's a system that works for my brain. And actually I'm gonna show you the next week's because I kind of changed up how I did it a little bit. So I have divided over here things I'm praying for. And so and things I'm thankful for. So on this side, prayers, on this side, things I'm thankful for. And then I went through and I have my brain dump space, okay? And I brain dumped everything that was in my head that I knew I needed to do this week. And it could be anything. And I just wrote it in black ink, no big deal, wrote down as many things as I could. After I got done writing this down, I usually do this on Sunday night. Then I went through and I color coded it just to be fun. Probably by the end of the year, I won't be color coding. Just being honest, okay? But I color coded just for fun. I put all of the home tasks, have a purple dot next to them, all the work tasks, a pink dot, green tasks, medical, that kind of thing. And I kind of sorted it like that so I could see what all was in that category. Then I divided it into categories. So I have home, work, medical, and church. This week I am doing home, work, medical, school prep, church, and errands. I don't really like the errands one. I don't think I'm going to do that after this week. So just full disclosure there. But I do like to kind of have it divided into categories for my brain to be able to think through it. And then I make sure I write the 3 most important things for me to get done in this top category. That's really important to me, which is why I like doing the color dots to help me keep track of what goes in the category ahead of time. So I just kind of write those out. It gives me a really good idea of what is important and not just what is urgent. Because with my ADHD brain, I can very easily get sucked in to doing what is urgent instead of what is important. I then have meal planning. What I love about this meal planning box, and it's probably what some people don't like about it, but what I love about this meal planning box is that I can just write down my meals on the bottom and I don't have to assign them to a specific day. If I want to do like breakfast, lunch, and dinner, I can. I just have dinners. I write them all down and then I kind of go through and I'm like, okay, roughly, I think this is the day I want to do this, but I have the flexibility to change it because I almost always do. So that is fantastic to have there. And then you have your weekly spread. So with this, I was a little torn, honestly, on how I wanted to utilize this because I use Wendy's daily planning pages in order to help me kind of map out my day. But what I decided to do the past 2 weeks is I have taken these lists and I've been like, okay, are there specific days that these would be better to be done on? So I just kind of write down on this half of the box, right under the date, I write down anything that's happening that day. So, okay, we have writing camp, I have a meeting, and I have physical therapy on Tuesday. I don't worry about writing date, times, that kind of thing, locations. I've got all that information in other places. But I just kind of write down a general idea of what's happening that day, so I know how many to-do list things I can realistically get done. So I just put down and kind of map this out. You don't have to do that, but it is something that has kind of helped me to see what can go where and which days are gonna be my heavier days, like Mondays are usually my heavy days, and which ones are gonna be a little lighter. I also have this beautiful, beautiful bookmark that I love so much, and it is dry erase. I use the Expo fine tip dry erase markers, and I love them so much. And then I added paper clips to them to help me with my loop schedules. And let me explain real fast. So when we come to doing our school again, I have group loops for my younger kids. So for my younger 3 kids, we do history and science, and we alternate. So if we did history today, the paperclip would be on history. If we did science today, the paperclip would be on science, and we just alternate back and forth. That one's a pretty easy loop. I probably didn't need a paperclip for it. But for my daughter, Rachel, her school is a little bit different. She has some core things she does every single day, but then she has other subjects we can't always get to because she has a lot of medical needs. Sometimes she gets fatigued easily, or we have a lot of doctor's appointments. So with that, I made a loop so that we would just start, after we've done her core subjects, we'd start with spelling, start with grammar. If we can get to writing, awesome. If we can't, then I'm just going to leave the paperclip on wherever we left off the day before. And the next day, we're going to pick right back up. And so we'll pick up with writing, then ASL, then kids cook real food, and so on and so forth. This way, if there's days that I get it all done, that's amazing. That's great. But if she can't handle that, we're not losing track of what we've already worked on or not working on all the different areas. For this, I have a deep clean zone. So each of my family members has their own cleaning tasks, their own jobs that they need to do. But I'm giving myself a weekly cleaning zone. I'm doing this by week. It's a suggestion I got over at Made to Homeschool. But we're just kind of taking it section by section. So this week, my zone is the laundry room. And my plan is to go in there and not just pick up, but actually like do deep cleaning tasks. So maybe it is making sure that the lint trap is fully cleaned out and like underneath the lint trap is all really cleaned out. Maybe it is that in the laundry room, I need to resort and organize the bins and containers that are stored in there, or I need to wipe down the top of the washing machine and dryer. Things like that, things that nobody else is getting to. Those are my deep cleaning zones. And so each week I just move it to a different zone. For my daily cleaning zone, I also do this. So today, my daily cleaning zone is the bathroom. And this works out perfect because I had some other work I needed to do in the bathrooms. We're switching over a linen closet right now. So I'm excited to be able to work on that. So this idea is I'm just doing something in this room, again, that's outside of the norm. It could be like doing a deeper clean on something that is the norm, like doing the toilets or showers or tubs or something like that. Maybe mom's gonna touch it instead of just kids touching it. Or it could be a cleaner task like underneath the bathroom sink and things like that. But this is just a really simple task for me to keep track of the way I do it. I also have daily things I try to get done each day. Yes, the paperclip is over it, but like I can also still read it, so I'm not too worried about it. And then I do have some of my routine stuff, but this I'll fill in more as I get into the new school year and we have like co-op starting and things like that. So I really love this. I love that this can be moved week to week, so I always know exactly where I'm at in the calendar. Now, the one thing I haven't mentioned at all, and you're probably wondering about, is the actual homeschool planning pages. So we do not plan out our week by week. I already mentioned that. Monthly planning is the way for me to go. However, I plan to utilize this section as either one of two things, either a reverse record keeping, at least for my younger 3. My older 3 are in high school. They keep track of their own stuff on Homeschool Panda, so I'm not too worried about it. But for my younger 3, I'll either use this reverse record keeping, or I will utilize this to help me just to make notes and keep track of how days went with my daughter and with all my kids. Like, okay, so-and-so really needs help with B&D reversal, like writing down those notes and being able to utilize these at the end of the week to prep for the following week. So I'm not sure yet. Let me know in the comments, what are you planning to utilize this for? But that is what I've got right there. I also use the daily planning sheets to help me to map out my specific days. So with this, I input any time specific tasks that we have. So if we have a doctor's appointment, a therapy appointment, anything like that, I'm going to write that in here. And then I'm gonna write down my 3 top priorities for the day and any to-do list items I have. What's great is I don't have to write down those routine things because they're already on my bookmark, so I know that they are there and I know that they're gonna get done. This is more so for me to fill in those things that I already planned for the week, those important things. And I can also track any urgent things that come up that I maybe didn't plan on or think through. There is a place for me to put the meal plan. I don't usually do that. And there is a habit tracker. I have written on there several times, but have actually been very bad at tracking that. So that is kind of how I'm using the daily planning pages in relation with the planner. I utilize the daily pages constantly throughout the day, and then I utilize this either the night before when I'm setting up my daily pages or first thing in the morning. So it's not something that I'm constantly having to reference, but I like being able to have that kind of my brain all in one place, which is really, really, really helpful. Now, I've got good news and I've got bad news. The bad news is the Plan Prep Pray planner. The bad news is the Plan Prep Pray planner is actually sold out for this year already. So I wanted to make this video to help and share ideas on how to utilize it. But if you're like, oh, I need that, I have to have it, be sure to jump on the wait list. I'm gonna put a link down in the description below where you guys can be notified as soon as the newest planner is ready for pre-orders. That's gonna be like the best price you're gonna get this year, and it'll be really exciting if you wanna snag one for yourself for next year. But the daily planning pages are still available. So even if you're using a different planner system and you just like the idea of a really well-organized checklist, definitely check those out down in the description below. And be sure to check out the playlist over here of all the other moms sharing how they are planning their homeschool year with the Plan Prep Pray planner.